Kofi with the Main Event Podcast. I'm with my co-host, Jonah Pittman, and we're going to be discussing a lot what's going on in Chicago Bears news. We're going to be talking about the Allen Robinson franchise tag. We're also going to be discussing the Kenny Golladay not being franchise tagged by the Detroit Lions, and we're going to be talking about the whole QB carousel going on with Russell Wilson and with the Dallas Cowboys signing Dak Prescott to an extension. And finally, we're going to be ending it with a Kyle Long returning to the NFL. So I'm pretty sure if you guys are Bears fans, you know what's been going on with the whole contract situation going on with Allen Robinson and the Chicago Bears. So according to reports, from last year, the Bears and Allen Robinson, they couldn't reach an agreement. They couldn't reach an agreement with each other to find out what was best for the two parties. The Bears at first wanted to offer Allen Robinson around $15 to $16 million per year. But according to Allen Robinson and his agent, they were trying to reach between $18 to $20 million, which I totally think he should have been given, because if you look at other wide receivers around the league, you see that Amari Cooper has been offered at least $20 million per year. He had that contract with the Dallas Cowboys for at least 5 years for $100 million. And of course, you had DeAndre Hopkins, who had that $27.5 million, but he's kind of an outlier. And then you had Michael Thomas, he has $19.5 million. But I think Allen Robinson, a player of his caliber, he almost is equal to Amari Cooper, because he kind of deserves that contract. But and also with the whole cap situation, the Bears are trying to figure out how they can figure out a deal to get that $20 million. But we don't know exactly yet the whole implication of what's going to go on throughout this whole offseason, because Allen Robinson and Bears have until July 15th to come up with an extension. So we're going to have to stay tuned and see what happens. But Jonah Pittman, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, when it come down to it, really, hearing about everybody else contract and everything else, Allen Robinson rightfully so deserves his money, but he's somewhat still around that 16 to 17 million year deal. He's not around that $20 million type of deal. He's around that 17, probably at most $18 million cap. And that's probably where the Bears should have capped it at, $18 million, and they should have had this deal signed. Now, with the franchise tag, of course, they do have until July 15th, but he already said in the beginning that he did not want to be franchise tagged whatsoever, that the moment he get franchise tagged, he is going to be basically pissed the hell off. And I'm pretty sure just hearing the news, he's upset right now. He wanted a 5-year extension, at least somewhere between the $18 to $20 million. The Bears should have capped it off, if not at $18 million, at least met at $17.5. He would have been happy with that, and the Bears could have had a deal done, and this saga wouldn't even been continuing. Right now, only thing the Bears would have been talking about is probably what the news is referring to is just the quarterback situation. But like you said, we're just basically gonna have to see how that turns out and see how this saga continues throughout the off season, going into the preseason, and if they don't get a deal done, we're gonna hear it throughout the entire season, and it's gonna be distracting, not only to him but the team as well, because eventually they're gonna be asking the teammates, the coaches, the owners, everybody. It's just going to be a question that's going to be continuously floating around until this deal get done. And also now, referring to deals not getting done, Kenny Golladay did not get franchise tagged by the Lions, and he's basically going to be a free agent. Kofi, tell me what you think about this, because this is just madness to me just hearing the Lions not re-signing him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a player of Kenny Galladay's caliber. I mean, the fact that they're not franchise tagging him is just a testament to seeing where the Detroit Lions is. They really are trying to go for a rebuild. I think ever since they got rid of they traded Matthew Stafford away from this team, and with the whole mess with Dan Quinn and Matt Patricia, messing up that team, you seen that this team was just going down the drain. And with Kenny Golladay, with somebody of Kenny Galladay's caliber, you see that this guy a couple seasons ago was a Pro Bowler, or 2019 he was a Pro Bowler, and he had 2 seasons over 1,000 yards. Shoot, you can even make the case that he's even better than Allen Robinson due to the fact of his speed. He has a combination of speed and power, almost similar to yours truly, Megatron.
Just a smaller version. Yeah,
and you see Kenny Golladay. You see that he can really extend plays. He can make yards after the catch. He has the whole entire package. But I think with the way the Detroit Lions are going, the fact that they're trying to rebuild, and the fact that Kenny Golladay, he also has injury history going on, I think they wanted to go in a different direction, and they just wanted to just allow him to go and test the free agent market and just, let it go. But, I wouldn't mind if the Bears got him, but I don't think the Bears are going to get him because, of course, we are cash-strapped, and we have other glaring needs on our team that we need to get addressed. But Kenny Golladay, he's a great player, but with the whole Detroit Lions and the direction that they're going, I think, they just had to not franchise tag him. But, yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, though, like, who the hell, if you did that, and of course you got now Jared Goff as the quarterback, who the hell he going to throw to now? Who the hell he going to throw to? I hope they going to get some receivers in the draft if they going to let him go. That's exactly what they're going to have to do. First and possibly second round. And the crazy part about it is,
I think they might go after like Jamar Chase or somebody like that.
Maybe, but they still have so many problems on defense as well. Their defense played so horrible last year. Yeah, they had a few games where they did play well, but more times than not, they was bad. I say maybe 5-6 games they played well, and other 10 to 11 games they was bad. So it's like they need improvements on defense, and they definitely drastic on the improvements on offense due to the fact that they not re-signing Kenny Golladay, which is moronic to say the least.
Not only the fact that, of course, the defense, man, was god awful. You can even make the case that that defense, man, was worse than the 08 Lions. You can make that case because this defense was so god awful. Their linebackers were so slow. Their cornerbacks were getting burnt by receivers
left and right.
I know there are a couple rookies. You had Kuda, but he's a rookie, but he was getting burnt. And then you had Awaria. He wasn't playing too well. He was injured. And then you had Jelani Tabai. Like, don't get me started on Jelani Tabai. That guy is like freaking molasses. He can't even move around. My grandmother can move faster than him. So, they have a lot of work. They have a lot of work cut on that defense. So if I was the Detroit Lions, I'll probably go after like a linebacker, like that one linebacker from Penn State. He's really good.
Yeah, they might have to just build on that defense.
Detroit Lions, like, they have their work cut out from them, especially on defense, because they got to keep that defense worked on, because it has so many glaring holes.
Yeah, because they're going to have to work on the offense first. And the only reason why I say that is because of the way the NFL had trended. Offense first. At first, it used to be defense first, so you work on the defense first, then the offense second. Now, is all offense. So you definitely going to have to make sure the offense is cognizant enough to be able to put up at least 24 points per game. That's only how the NFL teams are going to win. You have to put up at least 24. Teams nowadays is scoring 33 points per game, and they still rank fifth. They used to be ranked first 10, 15 years ago. So basically, that's going to be the first thing that the Lions are going to have to do. They're going to have to work on that offense first, and then eventually try to see if they can work out their defense. It's going to be basically damn near the same saga as being when they had Matt Stafford for the past 12 seasons. And when the defense
I think their offense is all right. Their offensive line's pretty good. I mean, their receivers are decent. I mean, Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, he's pretty solid. And even without Kenny Golladay, I mean, their offense put up some points. So, I mean, I don't think they're going to be too bad. And plus, to see this, that rookie, he was very underrated. Like, I remember that game against us Bears, when he was facing us Bears. I remember that Matthew Stafford threw that long bomb to Quintus Cephas. He had that touchdown. So, I mean, that kid is really underrated. My opinion is that they really got to work on that defense. I think their offense is okay, but their defense, they really got to work on it because they have so many more holes than it is on their offense.
Yeah,
so,
but the prime person that's missing, the prime person that's missing from that ingredient is Matthew Stafford. He's the one who made that happen. Jared Goff is not that caliber of quarterback like Matthew Stafford. He's that good that he can do that. I don't think Jared Goff gonna be able to recreate what Matt Stafford was able to do in Detroit. Matt Stafford if Matt Stafford was in with any other team and he put up the numbers that he did with any other team, they probably going to the Super Bowl. But because it's the Lions, 9 wins at best, 10 wins at best. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not going to deny none of the weapons that you mentioned. They have a lot of weapons. Even without Kenny.
Don't forget about Taylor Hockenson. Taylor Hockenson was a Pro Bowler too. They got Taylor Hockenson, so he could be like a security blanket.
Yeah, it just quarterback play is going to be a key factor in what's going to happen, and they probably going to need another number one receiver eventually, because I don't think Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be that true number one that they're going to need him to be. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it consistently. That's the only thing I can say about that. But now, transitioning over to topic number 3, the Wilson saga still continues. And also the news that him possibly coming to Chicago is heating up. And it's crazy to hear that it's still happening that he possibly can come to Chicago. I still just like, wow. At first I was like, I didn't think he was gonna come here at all. You already heard my old podcast. I already said it. The best option for him, right? The best option for him was to go to New Orleans, but it seems like he is really liking the Chicago Bears, and now that Allen Robinson is coming back to Chicago, it makes it looks even sweeter that Wilson coming to Chicago Bears. So, honestly, what do you think about this?
Man, I mean, where do I start, man? I mean, the whole fiasco going on with the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson, I mean, it's just been a crazy one. I think I remember reading something on was it Twitter? Somebody like had a season ticket holder for the Seattle Seahawks. And in that letter, they didn't even mention Russell Wilson. They mentioned like how this past season, like the Seahawks, they've broken so many records. They won 12 plus games these past couple seasons, and they mentioned DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but they didn't even mention Russell Wilson. And not only the fact that they didn't mention Russell Wilson, the fact that they were taking calls, entertaining calls to trading Russell Wilson. I mean, just think about it. Like, if you had a spouse, right? If your wife, Jonah Penny, I'm not too sure if you have a girlfriend or a wife, but I'm just saying, if you had a wife, right, and she was saying that, man, I'm just going to be entertaining calls to, some of these guys because I know our relationship isn't that great, but if she was entertaining calls to cheat on you, I mean, wouldn't that pretty much be the end of their relationship?
Yeah.
And so the fact that the Seahawks are entertaining calls to trading Russell Wilson is a testament that, that this relationship, this whole collaboration between the Seahawks and and Russell Wilson is not going anywhere. It's a hot mess. And Pete Carroll, he has pretty much total control over this team because after Paul Allen died, the previous owner died. His wife took over for the team, and the wife pretty much gave the reins to Pete Carroll.
Right.
And you know that Pete Carroll, he's more of a defensive-minded coach. He likes to run the ball a lot. He doesn't like to throw the ball a lot. And that's why Russell Wilson is so frustrated with his team because Pete Carroll doesn't allow him to make plays. He doesn't allow him to throw the ball a lot. And if Russell Wilson was to come to Chicago, that Matt Nagy is going to give him pretty much the whole entire playbook.
Right.
Because you saw what happened, with Nick Foles. He gave the whole entire playbook to Nick Foles. But the fact that, Nick Foles,
it's not mobile at all.
He's not the type of player of Russell Wilson's caliber. He's more of a backup player. And we know that whole Eagles 2017 season was an outlier because, of course, they had an elite offensive line. They had some really good receivers. They had a good running game.
Right.
But if you bring in a player of Russell Wilson's caliber, who's an elite quarterback, who's a top 5 quarterback in this league, that Russ is going to cook. He's going to cook because at that point, Nagy is going to give him he's going to allow Russell Wilson, he's going to have a say in the offense. Russell Wilson's going to have a say in this offense. So once Matt Nagy gives that play calling to Russell Wilson's going to tell, okay, Darnell Mooney, I want you to run I want you to run this crossing route. Allen Robinson, I want you to run the zigzag route. He's going to tell players what to do. And with Russell Wilson, he not only wants to be a part of just play calling, but he wants to be a part of management, and eventually he wants to be a part of the ownership because he probably sees something in the Chicago team because Chicago is a big market, and we know with Chicago, the Bears is one of the biggest teams in Chicago. I mean, if Russell Wilson was to come to this city and win you a Super Bowl, hell, he'll even be bigger than Michael Jordan in the city because this team is starving for a superstar franchise quarterback. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, like you had all these other teams, that did well. But if you had Russell Wilson's, a player of Russell Wilson's caliber, who's an NFL superstar, who has a hot banging wife in Sierra, don't get me wrong, she's hot as hell. And the fact that, you're in a big market like Chicago, he's going to be a big inspiration to a lot of kids, especially in the inner city, because they're going to see that, hey, there's a black quarterback that I can look up to and I could be just like him. So if he were to come to Chicago and win you a Super Bowl, I mean, he'll be a freaking icon in the city, and that will destroy all the stereotypes saying that Chicago Bears never, ever get a black quarterback. Chicago Bears never, ever get a black quarterback. It's going to destroy all that excuses. So, man, that's all I got to say about this whole topic.
Yeah, I'm about to say him coming back would do a lot of good for the Chicago Bears. It can possibly translate to other things as well, but him coming to Chicago basically would just automatically put the Chicago Bears at Super Bowl contention. Now, that's only if he doesn't decide to go somewhere else, if someone make him a better offer, because remember the Bears would have to give up multiple players, possibly, just to re-sign him. Now I have seen reports that they have to give up 2 first-round picks plus Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks. Now, honestly,
Don't want to do that.
the Bears honestly can't afford to give up either one of them. At most, if they do want one of the players, counteract that with an additional first round pick. Give them 3 first round picks, because we already seen what happened when the Bears did not have Akeem Hicks. The Bears got shredded, and the Bears defense basically didn't look the same. Now, when they did have him, they was burnt out after being out the majority of the games, being out there 40 minutes a game, almost every game, keeping the Bears offense, basically keeping the team in the game, which early in the season it resulted to wins, and later on it didn't translate to that because it was burnt out. Now, of course, like I said, can't afford to lose Keem Hicks. Now, Cal Fuller, you cannot afford to get rid of a top 5, top 10 corner. He's top 5, top 10 in the league. And guess what? He's not only been a Chicago Bear his whole career. The Bears drafted him. You can't, and they just re-signed him. Why would you re-sign him and then after that trade him? Yeah, of course, Russell Wilson coming to the Chicago Bears would be terrific. But giving up key pieces of your defense, you might as well should just say this is Seattle 2.0, but certain players at certain positions is better. Because they still gonna be able to run the ball almost at will, because you're missing Akeem Hicks, and if you give up Cal Fuller, all you got now is Jalen Johnson. Who you gonna get? Now you got to waste a first round pick on another cornerback. I wouldn't say particularly waste, but if you're trying to improve the offensive line and improve other pieces, getting rid of your cornerback is a top 5 cornerback is detrimental to your defense. Giving away a top 5 D tackle is detrimental to your defense.
Right.
Now that don't mean that the Bears won't give them up. I'm just saying that's what possibly happened. But if you had to give up one of them, you have to give up Akeem Hicks, because he is older than Cal Fuller, and Cal Fuller will probably be around a little bit longer. Cornerbacks seem to me last a little bit longer than D tackles.
Right.
So hopefully,
and also his injury history too.
Right. And he's been injured over the past few seasons, and Cal Fuller, despite everything that's happened, he's been
remarkably healthy.
Right. Other than right after that knee injury, he's been healthy as a goddamn horse. So hopefully that does pan out for the Bears. But now, finally, moving on from the Russell Wilson saga, we now transition over to the Dak Prescott being re-signed to the Dallas Cowboys, and how can that further affect the Bears trying to get Russell Wilson, and what was the other options that the Dallas Cowboys basically had other than Dak Prescott? I'm gonna let you lead the charge with this one, Kofi.
All right. So, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, they signed Dak Prescott to that 4-year, $160 million contract for $127 million guaranteed. So, of course, with the Dallas Cowboys, they, that with the whole contract negotiation with Dak Prescott, they were kind of reluctant to give him $40 million per year, because it would pretty much put the Dallas Cowboys in a cash trap if they were to sign him, if they were to give him like a $41 or $42 million per year. But they compromised, and the Dak Prescott was able to get that deal. But if they, like what you said, if they weren't going to sign Dak Prescott, I mean, other options that they could have had was Derek Carr. He was an option. I mean, they were saying it all over ESPN.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Jameis Winston, and of course Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they weren't really talking too much about it, but of course, with Russell Wilson and all that. But they didn't think too much about Russell Wilson. They were really focused on getting Dak Prescott back. That was their main focus because that's their quarterback. And previous to Dak Prescott getting injured, he was already having a career season already.
He was on his way there.
Already, I think how many games did he play? 5 or 6 games. He had a 68% completion percentage.
Yeah.
He was throwing for 1,000, almost 2,000 yards before he got injured. 9 touchdowns to 4 interceptions with a QBR rating of 99.6. So this guy was projected to almost throw for almost 5,000 yards if he played a whole 16-game season.
And so I think he was I think he was projected to throw for close to 6,000 yards actually.
Exactly, 6,000 yards. So that would have been a record, NFL record.
Yeah.
And especially with the way the NFL is, this is such a pass-happy league. I mean, if you even blow on somebody's face, you can even get a freaking penalty. And so the fact that this guy, with 5 or 6 games, man, he could have projected to throw almost 6,000 yards. So that the Cowboys, they're thinking, man, we're not going to get rid of this guy, man, because he's already having a career season.
Right, because after that, because right after that, the team completely fell apart without him. So they know for a fact how much they needed him after how far they fell without him.
And how much he means to this team.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they know already now because they tried it out with multiple quarterbacks just to try to replace him. If any other quarterbacks would have had great success throughout the season, if just one quarterback was able to stay healthy and had great success, then they wouldn't have signed Dak Prescott. But because they had their quarterback tryouts throughout the season, every quarterback failed miserably or got injured. They was like, yeah, we have to bring Dak back. That's basically what happened. And people probably don't even realize that the Cowboys already did their quarterback tryouts. They already knew the chance of them getting Russell Wilson. Right. You just think about it. Just think about all the quarterbacks they put in this past season that and did not have the same success that they had with Dak Prescott. That's
Andy Dalton and that other guy, I forgot his name.
Right. The chance of them getting Russell Wilson was slim. They already know that.
Definitely.
They not getting Deshaun Watson.
No.
After that, you said is David Carr. Is he better than Dak Prescott when healthy?
No.
Marcus Mariota, there's no question.
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's at least top 12, top 15 quarterback in the league.
Right. I was about to say, Ryan Fitzpatrick. He gonna win you some games, yes, but he's also a walking turnover. So that's all I'm saying. And
he's older. He's almost 40.
Right. He's not going to be around long. So, of course, Dak is and always will be the best option for the Dallas Cowboys. Good thing they saw that right away. So, hopefully, Dak can get 100% healthy because I actually want to see him back and playing. And I actually don't say that often about other teams, but I want to see him come back and be able to play well, just basically like I wanted to see with Alex Smith when he came back. I was excited to see that he was back as well in the win.
Right. You want to see him where he left off.
Right, before that injury. I want to see if that's left, or is he going to be a completely different quarterback? Is he going to turn into a check down type of quarterback because he don't want to suffer the same type of injury?
Right, like running the ball, like you don't want to be like that dual threat quarterback that runs the ball and then he freaking gets tackled the wrong way.
Right.
And has a gruesome injury.
Right.
And that injury was very gruesome. It was so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, not on the level of Alex Smith bad, but it was pretty bad.
Yeah, Alex Smith was Joe Theismann bad.
Yeah, that was horrible, man. It was so bad. And the fact that he was able to come back because the doctor said that he could have had his leg amputated, to be honest. They could have amputated his leg.
Yeah. Because
they got into that point, where, his injury got to that point where they were close to amputating his leg. So the fact that Alex Smith was able to come back from that gruesome injury just shows you what type of player he is.
Right, and then let's just hope that Dak Prescott can be that same type of player and come back. You know, I'm pretty sure it's going to take a season or two, maybe even 3, before he 100% healthy and probably 100% back to the way he was last season. But if he can at least give out some of that brilliance and at least lead the Cowboys to win a few games here and there, even though I don't think they're going to have a winning record. If he do lead them to win a record, that'd just be a great way to cap off his story. So good things. I'm just saying that was a good thing that the Cowboys did the right thing in re-signing Dak Prescott. And
now, he could be a comeback player of the year probably next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to see, because ain't Alex Smith gonna win comeback player of the year this year?
Yeah, he already won it. He already won the comeback player of the year.
Right. He had a 5-1 record. Even though his stats wasn't as good because of course he was gone for a year, so reading the defense was probably a little bit too fast for him, but they win games with him.
Right.
So,
and he was game managing. He was game managing pretty well.
Yeah. He did basically what he needed to do, and if he would have played the entire season, they probably win 10 to 11 games.
Yeah.
Especially with how well their defense played majority of the season.
Right.
So, yeah, like I said, we're just gonna see how things gonna turn out this season with Dak Prescott, and like I said before, kudos to him getting re-signed. And now we move on to the last subject of the main event podcast. Last but not least, Cal Long is returning to the NFL. Now, of course, Kofi, you the one who told me about this story, so I just want to hear more about it from you. Let's hear.
Yeah, so actually I read today on Twitter that Kyle Long, he was talking about, how he was trying to get back in shape. I think I saw some video of Kyle Long. He was actually in the gym, and he was like saying that, man, I feel stronger, I feel happy, I feel, nasty and shredded, and I'm ready to come back to the NFL. And so, man, like, Twitter was just blowing up saying, oh, Kyle Long's ready to come back. You even had some Bears fans saying, oh, we need you to come back, man. We're ready to bring you back. But, I mean, me personally, I love Kyle Fuller. He's 3-time Pro Bowler.
You said Kyle. You said Kyle Fuller.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle Long. Kyle Long, man. I always get, they're both named Kyle, but yeah, Kyle Long. Even though he was from that football tree with Chris Long and Hall of Famer Howie Long, great defensive player for the Raiders. The fact that that he's trying to come back and play football, is really great for him. But me personally, I don't know if I would want to bring him back to the Bears because of his injury history. And we're also set on the interior line. We need an offensive tackle. We know that Kyle Long, he was a right guard when he was playing for us. And so we already have our center in Sam Mustipher. We already have James Daniels, who's going to come back strong. And we also have Cody Whitehair, because I think the fact that they were able to move Cody Whitehair to left guard really helped him out instead of him having to play center. Sam Mustipher, he's very underrated. I think the fact that
he just got to get a little stronger.
Oh?
I said Sam Mustipher just got to get a little bit stronger.
Oh yeah, exactly. He's just got to get. He's really got to get in the weight room. He's only played a couple reps in the NFL. He hasn't really played too much in the NFL, but he's going to get stronger. Hopefully he does get stronger, because, I saw some games where he was getting pushed around and was even some good competition too. But I think, Sam Mustipher, he's a great player. He said that he's taking some training with Olin Kreutz, the great Olin Kreutz, who should be in the Hall of Fame. Olin Kreutz, the freaking leader from that offensive line from that 2006 Super Bowl team. he's taking training from him. But Sam Musafir, he's just got to get stronger. He's got to get in the weight room. I think he's just got that nastiness side to him. It's just that he really got to get in the weight room so he can push guys down to help David Montgomery. But the fact is, I'm not too sure if I want to get him because of his injury history. And, I mean, between 2013 to 2015, Carl Long was playing at an elite level. Like he was playing at an elite level, Pro Bowl caliber level. But after the 2015 season,
that's when the injury started
piling up. His knee injury, his back. I mean, the list just goes on. And it's just been a constant issue. Maybe it's the fact that he didn't take care of his body well. He wasn't eating right. Because sometimes, when you don't eat right and you don't exercise properly, you start to have those injuries. But now the fact that, he's saying that, he's been working out his body, he's been eating right, I mean, exercising properly, maybe, he's feeling right. And maybe, he might not get hurt like those past seasons he's been getting hurt, when he was with the Bears, But I think the fact that, he kind of already burned his bridge with the Chicago Bears, and the Bears, I don't know if they want to deal with him again. So I don't know, Jonah Pitney, but that's kind of my take on it.
Now, Mans is more like this. Yeah, he did have some not so good things to say about the management of the Chicago Bears, but what he said was true. Now, if the Bears did welcome him back, he can still play right tackle. Now a lot of people try to criticize him for that 1 year he played right tackle, but majority of the year he had a club. A lot of people forgot that he broke his hand, and he still played anyway. Mm-hmm. So he played right tackle in college and guard. He was drafted to be a tackle. They turned him, and then he just wound up playing guard because that's what better suited for him because of his size and strength. Now he can still mess around and play right tackle, and he'll still do a lot better than Bobby Massey, who was recently not re-signed by the Bears. I don't know if you heard that Bobby Massey is not going to come back for the Bears. So
yeah, I heard they let him go.
Right. So with that, Kyle Long can come along and he can just take a small contract. He can take a 1 year deal. And if he plays well, that 1 year deal, give him right after that a 2 year deal. Just give him small contracts. Because he's excited to come back, he'll be willing to take that. Long as it's not like some 2 year, $500,000 deal, just get him a little bit of bread, put a little bit of money in his pocket. So then it'll look logical for him to bring him back. Bring him back on a 1 year deal. Bring him back at right tackle. And see how well he'll do.
And not only the fact that I don't know if the Bears are going to bring him back, but he also said on Twitter that he loves the Chicago Bears, but he says he's not too sure if he'll come back to the Bears because of the management. So that's also an issue. He has a problem with the management.
Right.
So the fact that he loves the Bears. Don't get me wrong. It's just the fact that he doesn't want to come back to the team because of the management. That's the only issue.
Yeah, because he can see, just like everybody else can. He can see what's going on. He did not like the fact that Mitchell Trubisky was thrown under the bus because he sees the type of player that Mitchell Trubisky was. He didn't like the way they drafted for the most part because a lot of misses, and then the way they just throw everybody under the bus and never be accountable for nothing. So that's, of course, any normal being will not like no type of management that never takes the blame. They always blaming everybody else.
Accountability.
Right. So that's what really makes the difference. The fact that they just wasn't willing to take that type of responsibility and say, my bad, we fucked up. Instead, no, we did well. It was that guy's fault and that guy's fault and that guy's fault. And the fact that the ownership bought that shit and was like, yeah, you guys did do right. Yeah, it was that guy's fault. And then Yeah, that's why everyone
You
is
already
like,
saw what happened with the press conference. Like, that's one of the worst press conferences I've ever seen in my entire life.
Of course.
My God.
So it's a lot of questions going on. There's gonna be a lot of mini sagas going on through the off season. And as the season inches closer and closer, just not long ago it was cold as hell out here. Now all of a sudden it's 60-something degrees. It's just gonna get hotter and hotter. So eventually, before you know it, the fall gonna be here again, and it's gonna be football time again. But
I'm gonna be in Jamaica freaking smoking weed, bro.
Be high as a kite, boy. I already know. I feel you. But shit.
I already see it right now.
But shit. Matter of fact, is the Bears gonna have a preseason this year, or is they gonna cut the preseason out this year too?
Yeah, I think they're gonna cut the preseason. Nothing has been determined yet, but they were talking about having another game, like a 17-game season.
I think that is stupid with the fact that so many players been getting injured already.
Right.
I think if they do have a preseason, I think it should be, instead of 4 games, 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So then guys can warm up, because a lot of NFL stars got injured last year trying to turn on 100 when they haven't been able to turn on 100 at all the whole goddamn season.
Right.
They didn't have the training camp, they didn't have spring training, they didn't have none of that. They just jumped in the season and then tried to go 0 to 100, and that's why everybody tore their ACL.
Mm-hmm.
So the preseason, if they do have it, it should be 3 games, a 3-game preseason, so that everybody gets the chance to get themselves at least in somewhat type of game shape where they look good. So, but like I said, back to Cal Long, but it'd be exciting if he come back. Matter of fact, even if he don't play for the Bears, I'm just gonna be happy that he's back. He's only 32 years old. He's about my age. He's only about 32, 33 years old.
Right.
And the fact that he's had a year off, that definitely helps. That definitely helps, having a year off and having a chance to just relax, reflect, and heal.
Right.
So, yeah, like I said, kudos for Kyle Long and his NFL return. But then, people, this is going to be the end of our first podcast, the Main Event Podcast. And I am your co-host, Jonah Pipney, along with KO Sports Talk, Kofi Ohemeng. And we'll catch you next time, people. Just be sure to catch our podcast every week. We might be doing it twice a week or once a week. Right now, we haven't discussed that right now. But we will keep you tuned for further episodes. All right, people. Peace out.